Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Weekend Frivolity. The Broiler Chicken Show. Back. Actually, I wonder how you say "bakak" in Transylvanian. Hello, everyone. Hey, look at that. We're live on YouTube. Back to the my Transylvanian real estate agent. He turned up out of the woodwork. He disappeared for a year or two. But it was good to see him. Actually, when I woke up this morning, I was looking in the lounge, and it turns out he's a proud papa. Way to go, Dan. Dan officially reproduced. Way to go, Dan. You did your number one job in this existence, is you're supposed to reproduce. Other than that, it's not really a hell of a lot of point for any of this crap, is there? Did you name her Brianna? Oh God, how painful. I hope you didn't curse her with that. That would be awful. Yeah, oh, you did. That's hilarious. Actually, I did a tour of Europe a few years ago. Jeez, when was that? I think that was 2018, was it? Was it 2017? I can't even remember now. Anyway, and I got the privilege to hang out with the mayor of Vienna, and Dan actually came from. He's over in Romania, and he came over from Romania and hung out with us in Vienna. Man, those were good memories. A lot of fun. In fact, actually, I have Dan. Check this out. I don't know whether you bought. I think you were the one who bought this for me. I think you bought one of these, and Senna bought the other one. But you see that? You see that, Dan? I think you bought that for me. I don't know whether you can see what that is. It's a Doge coin. I don't really remember that or not. I don't know. This must have the year on it. So Dan was the one, I think, you bought this for us. If I'm not mistaken. I can't remember. Might have been Dan. No, Sen. He bought some of these when we were at the crypto. What's that say? It says 2014, but I know it wasn't that old. Be interesting to see what the hell this is even made of. What does it say? 1 ounce. You can't even read what the hell that even is. Anyway. Just more of a tchotchke than anything else. Not you? Didn't we? Who was it? Remember there was a... Yeah, I remember there was like a BTC store. I think I even remember you went in there. Anyway, so it was really great to see Dan back on the site again today. And, it's so interesting watching all of you guys growing up. Of course, my son, he's 21 years old now, so I suppose in other lives and other existences I'd be getting ready to be a grandfather, but not this life. Anyway, good to see all you guys sort of going through the whole life cycle and seeing you growing up. Sjord, my business partner now, he has 2 full kids. He's like a total family dude now. Suppose we're just waiting on Julian. When does Julian settle down? I'm sure there's that lady over there in Thailand has got her sight set on him. Good. Anyway. A kind of an odd environment around the website this weekend. The site has, to a certain degree, become very sort of education-oriented. Alexander, if you could maybe just throw yourself on mute, I'd appreciate it. So right now we're in sort of exam hiatus window. No problem. And as a result, I guess everybody's really busy studying. That's what they're doing, right? They're studying. They're not drinking and getting drunk. But things pretty quiet around the site right now. Great to see that Fjord. This is our 4 year adventure. We're so close to finishing up this dashboard and this data management algorithm, the whole 9 yards. Really cool breadth information. Now we have the ability, like if I did this on the site the other day, just taking a look at Dow stocks. Now we can just go and surf through. Number one, get an idea of what the sort of Dow Jones Industrial breadth-wise, the whole sort of shooting match looks like. You can see obviously we turned back up here about a week or so ago on the Dow, and then we can do things like go and just, through the daily brief and stuff. This is what I like to do, is just pick a sector and pick a particular topic of the day and just go and say, okay, well, what's the market telling us? So it's really cool application of the hard work Fjord's put in here over the past year or two, and it's all internal and stuff. Like, if we didn't do it the right way, you actually can leave yourself open to a lot of lawsuits and stuff if you do commercial enterprises like this. So pretty important that we did it the right way, and of course Fjord's very, very good at that stuff. Anyway, point here, ideally what I want to see happen is I'd like to see there be just a general overview page that everybody who subscribed to the basic site membership, they get something along these lines. Just gives you a nice overview with things like daily briefs and write-ups and our latest blog posts and all that kind of stuff. Just a nice overview of the market. Should give you journaling tools and trade management, size management. We always had a lot of requests for this position size calculator, so we threw that on the dashboard as well. Of course, everybody in crypto land has been watching this fear greed index really closely, but that should be sort of the basic sort of page. And then what I want to see happen is this data inside itself is extremely valuable. The breadth information still needs cleaning up. Fjord and I have to have another meeting. I asked to book some time with him. We're almost there. Just got to put these kind of charts up top and put these things over here, and put that over there. And we're almost there. But hopefully this gives us a nice visual representation of what the market's looking like. Interesting, crypto isn't doing too badly here. We slipped a little bit here recently. Looks like our our bullish percentage might be slipping a little bit here, but on balance, I see that the market itself is trying to turn back up. Remember we saw that in the Dow earlier, but this is still, can't really talk off of this. It's all gobbledygook, hopscotch all over the place. Anyway, we'll get to it soon enough. And then also sort of like a 3-page package. There are very specific screener signaling systems that I've developed over the years that I love, and half of the reason to build this website and all this was to get these things from my 1980s website finally up into the 21st century. So my old page that I put together, and Fjord's going to try and replicate it for this. As soon as all of this is imported onto these 3 pages, then the subscription package will be ready to go. But this kind of stuff, this is what I absolutely love. Good to see, actually. Oh, it was weird. We actually stopped getting the screener results there for a few days, so it's good to see that's come back on. No key reversals. That's a bit odd. Fjord did say that he was messing around with the tags, so some of these tags might be broken. Oh, that's interesting. Constellation Software, we got a key reversal out of a Canadian stock. Let's see what this looks like. Oh boy. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful double top. Yeah, that's a valid outside downside reversal. And actually these I like this because you can see the actual signal comes on a break of this low, which is 21.74.76. Jesus Christ, this is expensive. Where are we here? 21.72. Oh yeah, so it did break it. And you tell me, has that thing got any room to move down here? Actually, interesting volume profile. You can see it's probably going to come down into here in the short term. So, good to see that firing. Basically doing exactly what it's supposed to do. I don't think I'm going to talk too much about this stuff here today because it does look like some of the signals are still a bit splotchy. But anyway, the for those people that are like, okay, when is this package going to come? It's basically the overview, the breadth, and then Brian's signal page. That's sort of the little package. Once we have these 3 pages all in a nice little package that we can send to you, it'll just be like a little check off on your membership that you can add Brian's pages, Brian's look to your dashboard, and just we want to onboard everybody. So it's going to be some nominal fee like $100 for a year or something like that. But I just want to just jam as many people into the system as possible, get them all set up on that, so that when I talk of the daily briefs and that kind of stuff, everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about and they can all access the same information. It's a little bit herky-jerky right now. I got to tell you, platform's producing some really cool information. We just got to get these subscription packages, especially this particular one, solidified. So that's sort of where we are. Hopefully we'll get through this. I've been waiting for a year for this now. So it's kind of funny listening to Brian month after month after month say we're almost there. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be there sooner rather than later. Interestingly enough, just from the straight site subscription perspective, like if we just had like just a generic dashboard and didn't have any of the signaling system or anything, just had like daily briefs, I think the site is definitely worth subscribing to just for the video library. I mean, there must be hundreds of thousands of hours of video content in here. And the great part about it is all of this now is all searchable. So like you can go, I want to hear about what the hell these damn TRI guys are saying about Luna. Right? And look at that. You got all these daily briefs all outline exactly when Luna was talked about. So that's a really cool function of this website that I think is super cool. And then, this library in itself, the library in itself is worth a site subscription. And, ironically enough, I mean, this is kind of like the great Del Moody guy. He could write a course off of just the notes that he's taken from watching the free videos on YouTube. Keep in mind, I mean, hell, we did like like a great Del Moody. If you want for fun, you can go back and look at these old tutorials from when we used to do Coinigy shows. Geez, there's thousands of hours, I would imagine, of video in there. But the library, I mean, God, this has got so much stuff. I mean, hell, we even have a YouTube channel. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, there's Will. Anyway. But also too, what I've done recently here is, and Josh has really sort of focused me on this, is what I think I'd like to do is sort of create a library of sort of basic tools, right? So a library of things like, if you really want to be a trader, I mean, there's a huge difference between this sort of looky-loos that just sort of, come by and, I'll, hodl Bitcoin for the next 5 years, or I'll sit there and listen to you bark, Brian. I'll buy a whole bunch of crypto, but I'm not going to take any profits, and then I'm going to see the whole damn thing all go right back down. I think it's important that this will be probably a big focus of myself over the next, few years, is to really sort of distinguish between this sort of the casual market participant and the actual trader. And I think I want to go back to, I think actually I'm going to make it sort of a personal goal to go back and get funded and go back to prop trading at Top Step and, just report in. From there, I think I'd really like to do that. I want to go back into that world. So we used to post in the morning Johnny Hoagland's video, so I think maybe we'll try and do that again. See if we can get that back up and running. It's a fun life. It's a different life. It's very, very different than sort of like your buy and hold hodl kind of crypto enthusiast life. Very different. But point here is, actually, when we first started out this, a lot of people needed help really understanding what a trader's life really looked like and what was the process of sort of learning how to become a trader and what are the things that you had to sort of do. And so one of the big things, and it's sort of a lapse on my part just because I got lazy, is I never really nipped this whole sort of little old lady bastardization of risk management concepts in the bud. But I had somebody recently say to me, Brian, we really ought to sort of put out some sort of official sort of document about the different market participants. We teach this in the school program, but I do it very verbally in the school program. And then, in that document that I wrote like 10, 20 years ago, that textbook, talk about it in here. But what I wanted to do was write a sort of an official sort of public article that really just, very clearly articulates who the different risk takers are in the market, what kind of risk profile do they have, what kind of, participant, what kind of products do they participate in, what's their time horizon, do they play canasta or not, that kind of stuff. And so that's what I've been working on in earnest here over the past day or two. And actually, it's coming together pretty nicely. And I think this document will do things like speak to, I think everybody has to really get to know what type of personality you are. And the weird thing is I can't tell you. This turns out this is who I am. I mean, it just is. I'm proud of the fact that I came out as this guy. That's cool. But I can't tell you who you are. And unfortunately, a lot of answers speaking to this document and trying to figure out whether you're this crazy guy sitting there screaming his head off on the floor. I mean, maybe that's you. I don't know. But I can't answer whether it's you. Only you can answer whether it's you. So, like I said, this document was a little bit overdue. It's a document that I think all of the public can really benefit from, and it really speaks. It'll be a free document. I'll throw it in the library also for all our sort of basic and free trial people that just want to get an idea of how the hell to approach all this. Ironically enough, I think most of you actually out in the world are this guy, good old Joe Sixpack. Which makes sense. I mean, Joe Sixpack is Joe Sixpack. He's a typical guy. You all think you're little old ladies, but I tell you, man, watching the way all of you acted through crypto winter there in 2018, you're not little old ladies. So, I don't know, go figure. But also, too, I thought it was important to take some time here to try and differentiate between how the public typically participates in the market and how we participate in the market as professionals. Very, very different. And this is where I think a lot of people just don't understand. Most people come into the market and it's like somebody who's brand new to crypto right now coming in and thinking, hey, should I buy Bitcoin at 50, 60, 70 G's? It's the same thing. And I might argue, no. I say things like that, and nobody's in the lounge. 10 people watch these videos. I mean, that's the worst part about capitalism, and I hate it. I'll try and give you the straight goods on how this is the way a professional trader really, and a professional money manager looks at the market. And if you can look at the market from this perspective, you can see the rates of return make things like, oh, the S&P rose 15% last year. You should look for 7% capital gains and 3% dividends. That makes, this kind of shit makes that almost laughable. But nobody likes this, because what this really means is that you're no longer playing the market, you're a statistician. Nobody wants to be a statistician. Because I'll tell you right now, a statistician looks at this chart and goes, actually probably not that one is the best example. You know which one really scares me now? And poor old Sjord. I mean, the good part about Sjord is has said that he's actually positioned where he would like to see this thing just calm down and go sideways. But a statistician, and everybody's gonna hate me in fucking internet land and DeFi land and all that shit. But a statistician looks at that and goes, I better just leave this thing alone. Statistically speaking, this has got trouble written all over it. Look at that big fucking M there. And what's worse about this, in my eyes, is that the guy who's running the show is very, very arrogant. And that's usually the hallmark of the end of the move, when the participants just become over the top arrogant. They think they walk on water. So anyway, and you can't really even see that chart. So I'll just go. Let's see if I can do this. Boom, right? I mean, we'll change this to a line chart and make this nice and easy. What are we supposed to think if we ever see the market smiling at us? So, I don't know whether that's going up. I don't know whether it's going down. But statistically speaking, that's not the kind of environment that you step in and on the buy side, and statistically you see more times than not it go up. I'm sorry, it's the exact opposite. So I wanted to sort of speak, and this was actually specifically for Josh, is I wanted to, basically this is what this statement all is in here. Is most people get sucked into this trap of the market cycle, and they can't figure out why. And actually, I had somebody recently, and it was very cool, because they came to me and they said, well, okay, Brian, I guess I can understand, somebody who came in, like we had a guy on the site, Kevin, who I just think the world of, and I often talk to the public, you guys, about Kevin. Actually, I don't want to. Maybe I better not screw that up. Hold on a second. Let's put all that back. Is that it? Yeah, okay. I think what I want is just a brand new chart here, so I don't mess anything else up. I guess this is on. I had somebody come to me recently, and a chart that's not all written up on. All right, good. I obviously don't have an account on Coinbase. And he's kind of like, well, Brian, I mean, I suppose you're trying to tell me I could take $500 here and turn it into $500,000 or, $100,000 or whatever. And I'm like, no, I don't think that at all. In fact, what I think is if you had the balls to step in here, like I said, Kevin sort of famously bought that pullback there into that financial panic there a few years ago. That was the 500 into $500,000 window right there. Boom, done. So coming in now and saying, all right, yeah, you know what? Well, we should probably be able to 10x this. Notice, that's a nice simple 10x. 3,000-4,000 up to 30,000, 40,000. It got as high as 20x, but, in that area. And Luna, basically the same thing. I mean, if you can, number one, I don't want to go too much down the rabbit hole with Luna, but I mean, come on, people. I mean, this thing's gone up a hell of a lot. I mean, hell, this is where I bought for TRI down in there. I mean, that's forever ago. That's the kind of market that you're making, $500 into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Look at me, I'm so fucking awesome. But it's already happened now. So, is it realistic to expect this to happen again? I don't know. So, I was actually pretty impressed with that gentleman who's kind of like, well, this doesn't seem realistic to be able to do another one of these things here. And I gotta say, you're right. It doesn't seem very realistic. Obviously, the $64,000 question, all the glass node people and all that were like 100, 200,000. I was like, I'm not selling my Bitcoin until I see $250,000, right? Whatever. I'm going to change my name to Sedona Euphoria, right? If anything, this is a really good lesson that, maybe that's just not realistic. You can always hope for those kind of outcomes, and if the market does rally up, I told you, if Bitcoin goes up above 200,000, which I think eventually it will, because it doesn't have any choice, right? Every what, 4 years the damn halving happens. And then following the halving, they run the damn thing up to like 20, 30x, whatever the newest halving number is, and boom, there's your top. It seems to be almost pretty cliche here, folks. The question ultimately was going to be, what was this final blow-off top of this cycle going to look like? And, of course, we had lots of fun conjecture. Was it going to look like 13, which is these kind of images. We've clearly disconnected here. But, you know, higher highs and higher lows. Higher highs, you can see the yellow line. Higher highs and higher lows. It hung in there. As long as we keep painting higher highs and higher lows, this scenario could still play itself out. I've heard some guys, that Benjamin Graham guy's like, well, actually, I think the cycle's going to go another 6 months. Okay. It's interesting how this didn't peak out until over a year. I mean, I guess if this was on this schedule, this is over. But, well, we'll see. We'll see. It's interesting. I did see a video by Chico Crypto guys. And they were saying, what does a blow-off top look like? Usually it looks like a 50% correction in the price of the asset. So has that happened? 67 down to 47? Not quite. I guess half of 67 would be, what, about 30, 35 or so? Somewhere in there. So that would be, yeah. And I think that would make sense. Because if we did come down and bust these lows here, then in essence that would stop the higher highs and higher lows kind of thing, right? This looks, I mean, it's still technically a bull. As long as, I mean, I just did this, but as long as it just keeps making higher highs and higher lows, then technically the bull's still valid. And if we take out this low, which is that sort of 40,000, so we're down into the 30s and we're trading comfortably down there, then it probably means that that was it. If anything, the one thing I do like about what I'm seeing here is how quickly everything has turned insanely bearish. So that's usually you know, for whatever it's worth, that last cycle over here was fascinating. I think I told you I went and toured Europe through this. And what was fascinating about this period for me was all through here. I mean, the price had come down appreciably, but all through here, like I was, in fact, yeah, I think it was like right in this area here. I was over in Europe right there, or somewhere in this area. And I was still going to lots of conventions where people were all like super ridiculously bullish. And it's funny, you ask them, so what is it you're going to do? Oh, well, blockchain, 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 blockchain. But, okay, so what is it you're going to do with this? Well, blockchain, 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 blockchain. I thought it was funny. It was, we were in Switzerland, and I think it was in Zug. And I took a picture right beside Vitalik's office. He wasn't there, of course. I think anyway. So I notice now, though, I mean, number one, when I go onto the public, nobody's talking about crypto now. Nobody. You know, Andrew was sort of telling me the other day, a lot of the DeFi kids are starting to get a little scared now. They're getting a little antsy. I think that that time came off quite a bit, didn't it? Is this one, isn't it? But then you have to do some funny stuff. Man, who can remember, how did, you have to go 1 divided by, and then bracket, and then, was it, oh jeez, I want to say like minus AVAX, was that it? You guys remember how Nick did that? Something like that. No? Doesn't sound familiar. Oh, it's stabilizing, if that's what we're supposed to be looking at. I have no idea what we're supposed to be even looking at here. Does anybody remember how Nick did that? No? Oh. Is that Alex's gold chains? Anyway, so I'm a little surprised at how quickly the airs come out of the bag, and I also noticed that Solana pretty comfortably back below $200 now. So kind of looking toppy. It's interesting. I still haven't really got too much sort of clarity on this. I got the impression that these guys kind of lied to the market, and so that's one of the reasons why I was rolling over here. I don't know. Also, too, I wonder whether, everybody was hoping for sort of a big pump up into that congressional hearing, Brian Brooks and all that, and I thought that crypto did a really, really good job of sort of representing itself to the one percenters, and sort of kissing their ass to a certain degree, which is half of what politics is. Is just the people that are in charge want their asses kissed. And I thought things came out pretty well from that. I was pretty impressed with the conference. And then the following day, Mr. Do Kwon kind of just... I really didn't like the way he was sort of like, fuck him. I don't need to placate Washington. Go suck my dick. And it's just like, oh, Jesus. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I guess our DeFi index itself... Yeah, we kind of sort of put this spiral on here a week or so ago. I mean, I don't know whether I've done this correctly or not, but usually they say that these triangles usually resolve about 2/3 the apex. I think we have a pretty good range there for that triangle. And theoretically, you're supposed to take your spiral and sort of line up that, and it's supposed to be like just a never-ending vortex. Kind of makes sense if it's in there. I just don't know whether these angles are correct. There is, I think I showed you before. We can keep drawing triangles within triangles within triangles to make sure that it is drawn correct, but I don't have that much patience. It would be really cool if there was like an automated program that did this. And it just like broke down like into infinity all the gazillions of triangles, and then you'd know you have it done exactly correctly. But anyway, point here is they're dumping it into reload zones, so we have a pretty big test coming up here. Interesting how this is the end of the weekend coming into the new week. I would just simply say if this thing goes and M's out here, what are you supposed to think if the market's smiling at you? So just be cognizant of that. If we break down through here, then we probably got trouble ahead. But considering how wide this range is, probably this is going to be some sort of panic dump into these lows. Maybe one of these big names. Maybe that Solana finally comes down and has its sort of, what would you call it? Capitulation. And maybe, that Luna, I mean, I told you, I showed you, it's got an M there. Maybe it has some sort of capitulation dump here. I don't know. But we'll see. Long and short of it here is I do like the idea, over the next few days, there's some sort of capitulation event here. Cleans this up, and then we can start up the next leg higher. Well, we'll see how it goes. Heading back over, I guess, to the old corn. I had, on Wednesdays, we do a fun little video with actually it's really cool how it's a number of different students. We had one level 3er, one level 2er, and one level 1er. Now Derek has gone and graduated, so I wonder if we have to kick him off the call. We have to have a new level 1er come in on the backside. He's not going to like that though. Mind you, he is getting pretty active in the TRI SOF group, so I like seeing that. So maybe he's going to have bigger jobs down the road. Anyway. In that weekly call that we do, which is pretty much just crypto, I don't really want to talk stock market or anything with those guys. Unless it's like crypto stocks. we were looking at the Bitcoin, and I was interesting that jumped out at me about Bitcoin was it sure looks to me like we're on some sort of sine wave here. Here. There's sort of that magic level, and I remember I was I don't know whether you guys remember or not, but I was telling you guys how I felt like I missed a really, really big trade there in early October, and you can see in hindsight 2020, yeah, it was pretty big. It's interesting how like sine wave peak's a little bit off, sine wave trough, sine wave peak, sine wave kind of trough, sine wave peak, and then sine wave trough. I get the impression that this was actually a pretty important trough here. You know, we always talk about candle body lows, or, wicks and tails like to be eaten. That's what I wanted to say. So, and I did hear a lot of you, saying, well, Brian, what do you think about that big tail? It's probably got to be eaten, right? Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Looks to me like they came down and played with this tail primarily, and it looks like there's some sort of uptrend line here. I don't know where that's drawn off of. That's going way back, all the way down here. This market structure there. Doink, doink. Missed that level, but doink right into there. There's a gazillion lines on here. I know it's a mess. But anyway, point here is, on that Wednesday show, I kind of did sort of like sine wave. And it's interesting how we're doing our shows like midweek Wednesday. And I kind of think that by next midweek Wednesday, we're going to basically be a big hurry up and do nothing zero-sum game here. Can you kind of see it? Looks to me like they're going, wow, 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 wow. It's going to be something like that. So I put up a big, I think it was a 0 for this coming week, because I don't think there's going to be a huge change. I can't remember, though. Did we do it off of that level? If we did off of that level, maybe I'm dead. I don't know. But I think we're just stuck in this range here for now. And, that same sort of thing I just said a few minutes ago about these lows here. We had a nice big FU tail washout. Also, too, what was interesting about this, this is stamps. So this theoretically is sort of the cash market. Notice that this low did not get taken out. Remember, we looked at a bunch of these things. These lows, Coinbase, the low did not get taken out. Higher highs and higher lows. But on OKCoin, the casino, the forwards contracts, which will expire at the end of the month, and you'll never see that chart again, they did take this low out. Oh, what a surprise. No, crypto isn't crooked, is it? So, pretty much business as usual as far as I'm concerned. The interesting thing about this has just been a straight line down here, just grinding. You can only stretch the rubber band so far in one direction before it wants to snap back the other way. And this has been, in fact, I'm actually surprised we're not going to get like 7s and 8s and 9s on Tom DeMark counting systems here. In fact, there's that Tom DeMark thing. Let's see. Is it working? Doesn't seem to be working. Oh well. Because gee whiz, we've gone one direction so long here. And, don't take a trade on unless it W's on the other side of the trend line. Great example there. Here we are coming back against this trend line. Looks like we've got a bit of an uptrend line here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we sort of do that. And then we're going to be like, okay, now do we W? Right, and if we can W, then away we go. More rally. If we M, whoops. Then see you later. Probably something like that. So, that looks like our window, sort of like in that area. I know that's awfully messy. Another cool way to see this channel. It's my little quilt patchwork. And I don't know whether you noticed, but something is happening down here on our momentum indicators. You see that price made lows here, and they closed nice and hard. Especially, look at that day. Closed nice and hard down against this low. That is a bearish market. and then we went all the way down. But actually, we bounced quite a bit. Remember, I'd said on that day that if we actually close higher than 50% of this candle's range, then actually that's a reversal signal. And believe it or not, actually, I think that did close more than 50% of the range. But what's fascinating, I found over the past few days in here, keep in mind, we were all the way down here at one point, down at 42,000. But all through here, man, the sentiment has just been absolutely horrifically bearish and negative and blah, and the sky's falling, it's the end of the world. I do find it fascinating how quickly things change, eh? I put out a tweet the other day, which it surprised me how quickly everybody has flipped over to the bearish side. But even now, you're getting bearish tweets out of guys like this Crypto Cobain guy, which kind of surprised me. I mean, I don't know whether he's being bearish or whether he's just commenting on other people's bearishness. I mean, this guy's made just an absolutely insane, probably more money than some country's GDPs here. So I don't think he needs to worry about money. But it is interesting watching how you can see the OGers. They're getting ready for some sort of. This guy would not be talking about this kind of stuff if this was the beginning of the bull market. He'd be like, "Fuck it, let's get in there and buy." Because I'll tell you, man, this dude. I mean, he's the fucking shit. He was in here. So, and you want, 3 reasons for a trade. If Crypto Cobain comes out, and this was right in here, I remember him coming out right through here and saying, "That's it. I'm putting in my bid walls, 1,000,000 bazillion Bitcoins to buy right down in there." And I haven't really heard him say those kind of talks since. I mean, obviously he's made a ton of money and things like NFTs and all that kind of space, doing great. I remember there was like a big sort of public video that he did that it was everybody in the world was following meetings, and I think that was all about NFTs and stuff, so it made perfect sense. But I remember specifically he stepped up and said, "It is time to draw a line in the sand right there." But I don't hear any of that kind of talk now. And in fact, and this is why I like to follow these guys, in fact, what I'm actually hearing is he's kind of like, are we topping out here, or should we be starting to think about this? So that, in a weird way, that's got my attention. And if anything, what I would suggest is you pull down this guy's feed and just start ticking stuff off. If you start seeing things like, these dexes and rug pulls and scams and stuff, because keep in mind, the worst part about it is that these cycles always end in scams. And whatever the scam is that's gonna be sort of, we talk about, it's the end of crypto cycle, that's it. It's happening now as we speak. So that's the scary part about scams. So be forewarned. Andrew even told me recently a couple of stories that he's run into with his VC firm, that it's pretty obvious some of these guys are scams. And he's also saying that there's some people out there that all they do is they just try to bring to light various different scams. So, if you are a crypto enthusiast, I would strongly suggest to keep your ear to the ground on that kind of stuff. Having said that, 4-year cycle, maybe Wall Street came in and just put the kibosh on this. Because I think I told you, this is where I first came into crypto, and I remember distinctly there was an algo that they said that was sort of set loose called the Willy bot that actually pushed price up as dramatically as it did. So, maybe that was a one-off, that particular cycle. And this actually would have been what crypto would have looked like had it not been for the Willy bot. I don't know. It's tough to say. I think on balance, my account balances have gone up nicely through this cycle. I've got nothing to complain about. Hell, the dog money paid me a huge... did I take 6 figures out of the market? I don't know. High fives at least. So I got nothing to complain about that. There are some really, really big wins that we booked, like that Luna. Huge, huge win. So no reason to complain whatsoever. Am I going to get into the business of saying, okay, everybody, subscribe to my newsletter because I'm going to tell you the day that this market's going to top and that's it? No, I'm not going to go down that fucking rabbit hole. No way. If the market wants to keep moving up, great. I'll make more money because I got lots of this stuff to sell. If the market's going to go down, well, keep in mind, everybody, the socialists, they're trying like hell, but I don't think there's any way in hell they're going to pass it. But if you buy something and it goes up in value, and then you just sit on it and you do absolutely nothing, there are no taxes owing. The socialists will want to, and the banksters too, which is scary when the banksters start lobbying for this shit. Which is kind of funny because the banksters themselves, they wouldn't do very well if this happened. Because they sit on a lot of paper profits. So, like the Rothschilds, they themselves publicly said that they're long Bitcoin from $1,000. They publicly came out and said it. Look at my Twitter feed. You'll see it. It's from about 3 or 4 years ago. They publicly came out and said they bought at $1,000. So are they going to want to have to pay capital gains on those holdings? I don't think so. So... and if anything, maybe the people that want to get you to sell your Bitcoins and get out and freak out and you just, you're all riddled with stress, they're going to start saying things, well, you're probably going to have to pay capital gains taxes on those open positions, which is total bullshit. Because if something like that happened, the entire capitalist system, there would be no reason for the capitalist system. The whole damn system would collapse. So I don't think there's any way in hell that will ever pass. And mark my words, it passes next week. I don't know. If you can see the picture behind me, anybody who's in the hangout with me, you can see what I think of the government and Miss Yellen's sort of hand-holding through this. Just learn RLZs for Pete's sake. All right, so I have no idea where I was going with all that, but it sure sounded good, didn't it? Love when the words roll out of my mouth and I have no idea what I'm talking about. I don't know. Trying to, if anything, coming in on a market like this and getting into the business of saying, I think this market's going to go up, I think this market's going to go down. Oh, my goodness. It's exact opposite of that article that I told you that I'm writing, where what we really want to do is we want to trade edge. And it might be something as simple as I'm going to put in my plan that I'm not allowed to buy at or above 70% of the asset's previous 52-week range. That will keep you out of a lot of bubbles. I can absolutely guarantee you. It's not necessarily going to guarantee that you're going to be just ripping the market, making tons of money, but it definitely will keep you out of a lot of bubbles. And, here's the kick in the pants if you've never seen this before. It's almost shocking when you do this. You're like, all right, and actually can't do it here because I wasn't around that long, but if we go BTC, USD, I think we can probably do it on stamp. The only question is it all messy? Actually, that's not bad. All right, so we can do it way back when. I'm only going to buy at or below 70% of the range. No way, man. Fucking Bitcoin's $1,000. It is never coming back down. Ever, 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 ever. Oh, wait, what? Oh, shit. And the funny thing is, that's roughly 70% of the range right in there, right? Somewhere in that area. How close was the actual W structural bottom from that level? Actually, it's pretty damn close. It's not that far away. You can even do it over here too, I suppose. Bitcoin is never coming back. Whoops, that's not what I want. Over here. Never coming back down. Well, never say never. Boom. There's another one. So I mean, it's just, if it's one thing I can teach you about this space is, for God's sakes, don't chase. All right, so there's another one. There's one, too. How about the next one? Well, I don't know. Let's see. Bitcoin's never coming. And, I remember this one guy. I never hear from him ever now. Totally straight face. Mr. like total GQ. Like, I think it was like 6'6". All the girls throw their panties at him. He just looks at them, right? And they just melt. And, super smart. I'm the man, right? Don't fuck with me. Bitcoin will never come back down here. He told him, total straight face. Never, Brian. Never. Boom. So, here we are. It's interesting, actually, how quickly this thing zipped down here. Almost hit Mountain Man there. I don't know whether I would even consider that. I mean, do we have to go off the ultimate low? Quite often what Mr. Gann says to do is just literally draw your zero line at 0 and then start doing your fibs that way. But if we go low to high, I don't know. I don't think that that's actually corrected there yet, So if that's the case, if we go off of that level, well, you can see. I mean, ironically enough, all this is going to be is just the market comes down and just trades back to the old breakout level. Boom, right there. And I don't know if this is the high. If it isn't, and we're going higher, great. Adjust their fibs going up. It's not really rocket science. But you can see, there is 70% of the range. And again, this isn't necessarily going to get you to be like, picking the bottoms, picking the tops. But it will, at the very least, just keep you out of FOMO buying and getting sucked in. If you just have the rule, look, I'm not allowed to buy unless we're at or below 70% of the previous range. And I'll tell you, man, if that's all I told people, I didn't tell anything about trading plans, risk management, various exchanges, forward products. I just said that one thing to you at all. That's the only thing. So sold the damn course for $3,000. When you get into the classroom, I say, buy at or below the 70% of the most recent range. Thank you very much. That's the end of the course. Good luck. It would have been worth the money. I mean, boom, boom, boom. I mean, this one, yeah. You had to sit there and you had to take a bit of heat. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but fuck, man. But fuck. Ironically enough, you would have been buying just as everybody was just puking out, getting ready to commit suicide. Go figure. And, here we are. So, I mean, caveat emptor. It's your money. You do with it as you please. If anything, half of the reason why I do these videos is I just want to get out, like, my subconscious. I'm worried. I got to say for the record this. And so that's why I do a lot of this kind of stuff. It's just so nobody can say future a date. Hey, nobody warned us. Nobody told us the dangers here. That's not true. So, anyway, there is your reload zone. There is old breakout levels. Wyckoff checks. Right? Benkoff check. How many altcoins have we talked about with the Benkoff check? Just over the past, 6 months that we've been doing those the Wednesday shows? And how many times have you seen these Benkoff levels check too? And, market just cleans itself up, checks, and away it goes again. Don't be surprised to see that happen here, guys. Don't. I mean, it's just business as usual. So, I mean, I don't know what the hell the end result is, but I can't come to you and say this is investment grade here. I can come to you if we get down into this area, you can start thinking about investing. Now, you want to trade this thing? Okay, fine. I suppose the traders of the world, remember that was sort of our most recent pivot low. Now, that was following the whole dog money insanity. And I think we even said there that this would be more than 50%. And if we lose these lows, then I think structurally it represents that we are officially in a bear. I don't think that that's the case. Remember I told you this dip against these lows here, it took out the lows on things like OKCoin forwards, but we haven't broken any new lows here. So You know, and from a trader's perspective, it's just higher highs and higher lows defines a bull market. So, interesting. There is our buddy. This is so cool. Man, I love this. Josh. Where's Josh? Hey, Josh. We put out this image today. Man, this is so cool. This is half the reason why I like to have these sort of colorful images and stuff on here. So, and actually, I guess we'd have officially a new character to our repertoire. Collins Pump Chaser Zone with 38.2 to 50%. There's good old WD Gann, Mr. Happy Face himself. And there's our buddy, Brandon Rigo. It'd be really interesting. Actually, the funny thing is Brandon doesn't have much hair up top, but he's got just as big of a beard. I think I get the impression he actually went back to the mountains and he gave up on Western society, civilization. But there's Jesse James. Actually, I haven't seen Jesse. I think James every once in a while pops on the site. If you're on the site and stuff, James, say hi. Definitely a great level, 78.6, and a setup. He really liked single ticks. And good old Kavarkinator! Remember I showed you Kevin's kick-ass trade on Bitcoin at Kavarkinator, 88.6. So it's just, I love this kind of thing because, I mean, who the hell's going to remember numbers that are just, oh yeah, 88.6, 78.6, like I'm going to remember this, 61.8. I mean, who remembers that shit, right? So what I like is to inject colorful characters and, you know, a lot of action, a lot of over-the-top flamboyance, just to help you remember these levels. I'm telling you, man, it definitely works. It really does. And like I said, we got a new character in the entourage now, which when I saw that today, I thought, man, that is so fucking cool. I hope we make Colin famous. That's so awesome. So anyway, this is and you know, here is the actual level. It's not nearly as exciting as the picture, but there is Mountain Man. Right? There is Brandon right there. You could have argued that, hey, you know, I just buy Mountain Man tags of ranges, and that's a pretty good range. There's a nice double bottom there. It's top there. I'm just going to buy that Mountain Man range, doink, and it bounces right off of it. I mean, it's not my style, but I can understand there's enough reasons. You know, you got Mountain Man, you got like let's see if you guys should we get into the trivia part of today's rant? I guess the first hour is just Brian just fucking nonstop talking, blah 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 blah. Now we get into the okay. Let's see if we can actually make you people work part of the video. But what do we say as the market's working its way down, especially when it loses that level? And in this particular case, especially when it lost that level, what are you supposed to think? Well, where the hell's the next damn bottom? 2 words. Anyone? How often do you have to be right with a 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio just to be a scratch trader? Thank you, Andre. Andre, you're impressive. I think I want. Where are you from, Andre? I think I want to get in a plane. I want to come visit you. It's weird. I'm at this stage in my life where I haven't got enough money to buy a house with cash outright, but I have enough money where if I didn't actually want to buy like a big asset, I could do anything I wanted and basically, you know, rent for the rest of my life and never have to worry about a penny. Kind of an odd situation I'm in. So anyway, Andre, I want to know where you are in the world so I can come visit you. Hey, Chris! Good to see you, Chris. Nice to see. Man, I'm seeing a lot of OGers all sort of coming out of the woodwork. Anyway, so Chris got it. Nice job. Andre did get it, of course. And JU5T. Who's JU5T? Do I know you? Are you a site person? I've read that screen name a lot. Do I know you under a different name? Is that Justin? Anyway. All right, so point of the matter here, look left. That's what I was looking for. Did anybody in the Hangout write it down? No. Right's 30%. No, that was something else. Just came. What were you showing, Brian? Canadian shrooms? What? Willie Woo says that it's an extended bull market too. So we got two of them now who are saying officially extended bull market. That's kind of interesting. I haven't really watched that Willie Woo guy recently. I suppose he's probably kind of taking it on the chin a little bit lately, eh? Because wasn't he the one who was adamantly calling for hundreds of thousands of dollars? And something just went wrong. Anyway, point here is bottomed out mountain. As the market's coming down, we say look left. So clearly, this was an important level in here, right against those lows. That low, that low, that low. I mean, geez, there's a ton of lows there, right? What do we? Let's see if anybody on the YouTube video is a student. What do we call these sort of levels here? Is this good reference material for us? That level there, I suppose also even that level down in there, but that's pretty far down. These areas down in here, is that kind of all important? I'm everywhere. Anyway, I like to call these the institutional fingerprints. So, you know, the market slammed down into here. Remember, this was, I guess this was just at the end of the summer? Yeah. So the end of the summer, September blues kind of thing. I think actually we were going through kind of Delta variant stuff at that point, right? All that kind of stuff. And they kept trying to slam it down here, and somebody just kept buying this shit up. Just buying it up. Nope, you don't go down, you go up. And eventually the market just ran out of sellers and said, okay, fine, we'll go up. So that's a pretty darn important level down in there. And sure enough, the huge dump, where did it stop? Is there also another big concept here that I want you guys to learn from? And obviously, if I ask that question, the answer is going to be yes. Is there something that happened here that actually is very cliche when it comes to markets and trading? No? What happens if I put a line right across there-ish? Boom. Does that look like kind of like a bit of a magnet? And really, the only reason why I'm pointing this shit out to you guys is I want you to learn from this. I mean, it might sound pedantic. It might sound maybe even a little condescending the way that I talk, but I just keep repeating the same damn thing over and over and over and over and over. And you guys, you got to pick up on this because, I mean, 30 bloody years in this. You might as well get it now. Just learn this. Put it in your pocket. Then when I ask in the future, you just go, oh, yeah, that's a big fat round number. What a surprise. Can you see how this is $50,000? And you see how the market was almost like sucked into it from that side. It's just like it had no choice. And then sort of once, okay, we got the 50,000 done, then it had to back off. Then it got sucked into it again. It went beyond it, and then it got sucked back down to it. And then, interestingly enough, look at the dead cat bounce. Just ving, right back to 50 G's. Do you think that's an accident? I don't. Again, I'm not here to try and tell you to do one thing or another. I'm trying to point out things that hopefully give you edge. The next, when we're running up, getting close to 100, and we're at maybe like, 93,000. Somebody's like, oh no, that thing's going to top at 93,722. And you go, well, damn big fat round numbers. That's a pretty damn big fat round number. So very much like this. This is actually very typical of how big fat round numbers sort of act as magnets. I think that's exactly what happened here. Be interesting. And, you know, this will be an interesting conversation about these lows. Because remember we said these lows are important, but I think these lows are critical for that sort of higher highs and higher lows bull market. Sort of everything just keep humming along. I think these lows are critical. That's that 30,000 level. That if we see that, then it starts to imply greater than 50% correction off the top. Maybe the bull is done. Usually the rule is 33%, right? Or not 33, 38.2. And that's where, ironically enough, that's where we get, and it's kind of sad because the guy actually who taught me this, he's now going to disappear. Boo, hiss, hiss, boo. But the gentleman who actually taught me the importance of 38.2, Ray Burchett, he would say that we can't even really decide whether this is no longer a bull and is turned into a bear until we actually see 38.2s of this entire range resolve. So what would that be? That is right there. Oh, what a coincidence. That was that low. So actually, you know, based on Ray Burchett and 38.2, this is actually a pretty darn important level too. And then, like we said there a minute ago, probably the 50% rule, there is 50%. That's going to basically play with these. In a weird sort of way, this is almost looks a lot like Collins' pump chaser zone off of the entire range, eh? That's what's sort of jumping out to me. Where is 38.2? There it is. Let's see what happens. So 50. I think that's backwards. 50, 38.2. So this, we would color this like a teal color. That is Collins' pump chaser zone. Ugh. So we have a smaller reload zone, mountain man tag, big fat round number, come up against key support. And we have within the context of the entire bull market, pull back into Collins' pump chaser zone. And I hate to say it, but what this sort of looks like to me is a big honkin' head and shoulders. So what we should see is something that looks like that. So, you know, how we act over the next week or two should be interesting. Unfortunately, don't really have enough there to say, you know what, that's it. I think we're done the down move. We're going to start heading back up. It's just too early. I like the idea. And then, of course, remember I said earlier, this is not investment grade up here. This is total traders. Total traders. You know, what kills me, and you all need to respect this, people, this is a commodity. So if we want to know what sort of, you know, when the public is not interested, when the 1% is not shilling and they haven't got some sort of vested interest to get you to come in and buy an expensive asset, where does this thing usually bottom? And the answer is it bottoms at the cost of production. So you can even see now, there is the cost of production. There is the entire reload zone that I showed you there just a minute ago. Even right now, 15,000 up to 26,000. There's the cost of production as it stands right now. And I've told you guys, if you want to invest in this thing repeatedly, all you got to do is just wait about 6 months to a year before the halving. So you can see this thing officially bottomed. The halving was right there. This thing officially bottomed 515 bars, and this is a daily chart, 515 bars before, and actually it looks like it was even a little bit there, right? Well, actually, well, maybe the lowest low somewhere in there, right? So 500 bars, so that's about a year and a half below the halving event. I think that was the halving event right there, if I'm not mistaken. So, you tell me, when's the next halving event? We should be able to tell you exactly when this darn thing's a buy. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's like way out into 2024, isn't it? So there's 1 year. Boom, boom. It's interesting how TradingView won't even show you past that, but I think that is 2024 there. Does anybody know offhand when is the halving date? Anyone? There is 2025. August of 2024. Is that what you're saying? So that would be January 2024. August would be about 2/3 of the way through, somewhere in there. February 8th, 2024. All right, so we're all over the map. So here's 2023, here's 2024. February would be sort of like probably somewhere in there, maybe. And so literally our thesis here is the market should sort of finally capitulate bottom about that far before the halving. So we should see our bottom. And actually, I like that. That's what I've thought all along. October, November, December of 22. That should be, I think, in that next fall, especially if we look at the Benner cycle and all that, that's exactly when we should expect this shit to hit the fan. In fact, that's when I expect the shit to hit the fan of the interest rates, right? And the Canadian mortgage market to collapse. So actually that aligns nicely with the Benner thinking. So, so I heard somebody say February. I mean, I suppose what you could do is you could break this into 12s to get the exact date, but, half of that, and that's this 366, so that's not even exactly right. That is, it's 365, eh? So it's close. Anyway, something along those lines. So half of that would be 6 months. So half of that would be 3 months. So that would be about March 31st, somewhere right around there. So yeah, so February, March. I like that that halving event somewhere in that window there. So we're going to take, just like we did here, we're going to take about 500 days prior to that. So that gives us an ultimate capitulation low. And I really like that. I like the idea of a nice stock market crash. Just the whole economy unwinds. It's not going to be felt so much in the United States, but I think it's going to be felt really badly around the world in the global economy, somewhere right in this area here. I do like that thinking. Now, does that mean that we can't have another push to a new high here? Yeah, we could. And does that mean that we have to adjust fibs? Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me. Don't, just be flexible about this. Remember what we said about that 78.6 with this one, right? And like here. Well, I mean, 78.6, there it was at 44.20. At one point here, and I remember this, Tone Vase and all those guys were saying basically in hyperwave and all that. I mean, hell, there was one point here at $3,000, where if you bought there at 4,400, gee whiz, I'm down almost 50% on my money. Way to go, Brian. You're fucking awesome. Lawsuit, call my lawyer, rah, rah, rah. But it ended up actually turning off that 78.6. So I don't know exactly where our low is down in this area, but I do like that if you want to invest in this thing, that you start using things like the halving event as your reference point. I really do like that. So anyway, food for thought. How many days was the bottom after the 17 top? This was actually almost exactly 1 year. That was really freaky. That was literally almost exactly 1 year. That was a bit spooky. So we go boom to boom. Okay, 362. Now exactly where is your low? Looks like it was that date. Sorry. Let's see. What day is that? 3157, 3148. Right. So I think that was your lowest low. And was this the high? Right there. So, it's pretty spooky. I was almost exactly 1 year. Oh, 363 days. That's weird. I could have sworn it was 365. Anyway, so pretty darn close to exactly 1 year. Usually what they say is that this dead cat bounce should be about half of this duration. What would be really interesting to me is where was the last halving event? Was that it right there? Is that the halving? That looks like it right there, right? So there was the halving. And we said we want to buy, what was it? It's like 500 bars before the halving. What was this? 507. So let's clone that. Let's go back here. And let's go like so. Yeah. Here to here. And was this a good time to think about hunting for a bottom in the price of Bitcoin? You tell me. That was right here. That'd have been a good time to start buying, investing in your Bitcoins. I mean, that's pretty freaky. Somebody tell that fucking Chico Crypto dude and the Benjamin Graham dude and all these fucking crypto OGers. I mean, it looks to me like this is pretty straightforward, isn't it? I mean, call me crazy? Am I stupid? Leaving myself open to be called stupid. Oh, that's always a good idea. Do you guys see what I'm trying to get at here? Anyone? Should you be going investing in Bitcoins here? Cheryl, you see it. How's your kid doing? Is he sick and tired of listening to my nonsense? How about anybody over there on YouTube? Where's your MM Crypto guy and the Da Vinci guy? Why aren't they talking to you guys about this shit? No, what is it? The biggest airdrop in 2021 will mint new millionaires. Well, that'd be how many views? 55,000 views. Fuck. Don't buy Bitcoins now. Wait until the market cycle bottoms so you don't get fucking screwed by the marketplace. 78 viewers. Oh, goodness. How many days was the buy? Okay, so I don't know, Joshua. Do you think this makes sense? I mean, Mr. Sharktoshi, you've been working with me for a while. I mean, to me, it makes complete logical sense. But it means putting all the nonsense and all the fucking circle jerk bullshit away. I don't know. I don't know whether you can do that or not. Yeah, I don't know. Well, John, do you think this was worth tuning into today and listening to this? Or was this just basically a waste of time? Because what I'm telling you right now is don't go and invest in Bitcoin here. You're just asking for trouble. Sucks. Anyway, okay, I'm a trader. I'm not an investor. I'm a trader. I'm here to clip the market for some bucks. Beamish. So, what the fuck am I supposed to do? As a trader, still kind of thinking like you probably had like a knee-jerk range trade there set up, that mountain man level. One thing I looked at this, though, that kind of bothered me. Do you guys see how bottom of value is down here? And who can tell me, if we go outside of value, then come back down and accept back into value, what should we be kind of thinking here? It's terrible, and so as a result, I live in a crappy. No, I won't say that. I live in a house that was built in the 1940s, 50s. I can't afford to buy my son a house, even though that's the only thing I want to do in my life, and yet I will not shill. So, what are you supposed to do, eh? Anyway, I don't know. I suppose there'll be some place for me somewhere where I'll live nicely one day. But all I can do is try my best. And hopefully, like people like you, Andre, live on in my spirit. So the answer I was looking for was actually this is a Hogue 80% play. We always like to put little Johnny Hoagland. There's his icon up there. And that's the top of value, and there's Johnny Hoagland. There's the bottom of value. So that means we probably should come down and test these lows. Just to, and then of course the question is, what value range are you studying? You noticed how when I changed the screen there, that changed. I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm not going to really say what's right or wrong, but that just kind of jumped out at me when I was looking at this and I saw that. I was like, uh-oh, that doesn't look good. So, we always say wicks and tails like to be eaten as well, right? So, interesting, we did eat part of this tail. I think we ate completely this tail. Interesting how we're coming right back up into big fat round numbers. You can see there is the fractal top that recently topped this market here. So all they did was they just dead cat bounced it right back into that level. If we look at maybe like, since we're trading this, we'll look at maybe like a 4-hour chart. This looks a little suspicious because you've often heard me say wicks and tails like to be eaten. So there's that candle body there. But maybe you've heard me also say that I like candle body lows for trade location. So I'm a little surprised that they brought it down into these levels here and it turned there of all places. I would have thought that they would have brought it down into this level. So that's a little surprising. Lower highs and lower lows defines a bear market. We've got this little W, but they went and busted this low here. So that W is gone now. I think at best, you've got top end of the range, like I said, bottom end of the range, these candle body lows. Probably the rest of today we're going to be banging around. You can even see how this kind of looks like a profile unto itself like that. So we would need the market to accept above here. And if it does, that's fine. I don't like how we just like V bottom straight up here. So my hunch is at some point, probably later on this afternoon, we're going to have to come down and test that candle body low level again, bottom of value. If they just keep taking this straight up and they can blast it through this high right up in here, then we got a pretty big A, B, C, D working, right? We'll go A, B, and C, D, which would take us up basically into these peaks right up here. And in a weird sort of way, you can kind of see that. This is that volume profile conversation from the other side. So we were below value down in here. And this was like single ticks. You can't even see it on here. This to me looks like total stop run. Remember I said on OKCoin they actually did run those previous lows. Here this was just out in free fall and there just wasn't any bids on the order book. And so the thing just did nothing through that. So they below value, then sprung back up, got back into value. You can see all the business that's getting done here right now. Then they brought it back down, tested the lows, they held. If this thing can turn back up and, like I said, break through that high up into here, then you can see this is a Hogue value trade going the other way. So there's value low and outside value came back in. Going to accept into value. If we rally up, we should tag the other side of value 80% of the time, which, as we said there a moment ago, is nothing more than that A, B, C, D level. And then, of course, that's predicated on, what is the range that you're actually studying. If we adjust this, obviously the range of value is changing. Actually, that's probably the best one to use. That high up there down to that low. So if we're going to use that range, we'll go there to there. All right, so yeah, this makes more sense. So you can see we've got this node down here. The market right now is asking, do I want to be in value? Now remember we said if we accept above here, then we're probably doing this ABCD, which just brings us back to the POC, right? That is the point of control of this whole market. If we zoomed in on this range, then that was basically value low, value high. If we look at this whole range, that's the POC. And, you know, if we rally up into here, hopefully what you see is this is probably like a shoulder. That's a neckline. This is the head. This will be a visit back to the neckline. Then our shoulder. And then if we accept above the neckline, then that's a big honking inverted head and shoulders. Take us back up to the top of value. That 80% play. So, trying to turn back up. Probably a trade somewhere in all of this. For a trade, you can clearly see we're asking whether we want to be back up in this range. Huge asking here. You know, the market took a pretty big punch in the nose there, kind of a head and shoulders top. So probing lower. Question now is that selling done here? You know, the big tail would actually imply that yes, it is. We came into key support into previous lows. And we're trying to turn back up. And then, you know, let's see if you guys can put 2 and 2 together. What's the fib that I would be watching off of this range to tell me whether the down move is actually over or not? What's the fib that will tell me whether this down move is completed or whether all we're doing is we're just backfilling and getting ready for another dump? Hey, very good, Andre. Man, you're faster than it. Oh, there's only like 2 or 3 people in that. In the, oh, well, no, I beg your pardon. There's 5 people here in the hangout with me. 38.2! So, what's a 38.2 going back up? Boink. There's Collins' pump chaser zone. Fascinating. Look where the rally stopped. Dead cat bounce. Now, why on earth did somebody like send a memo or something? Why did the dead cat bounce rally stop where it did? It's kind of incredible, eh? Hopefully you're seeing how powerful this information is. So, do we go and M out here? And if I see 3 lower highs, then that actually starts to set up a short setup for me. Or do we W out and accept above that high? The bull ABCD comes alive. And really what it means to me is the slide is done for the time being, and now we're back into trading in a trading range. Make sense? Hopefully you guys see that. So there you go. About noon. I think I started about 10:30, so hopefully I gave you guys a good couple hours. You know, unfortunately, we're in sort of that correction mode in the market, and you just have to wait for it to clean itself out and finish, right? There is no bottom here yet. The easiest thing that I've suggested people do is just draw a simple trend line off of these peaks, and we really aren't like bullish technically again until we W on the other side of this blue, dark blue line. I wouldn't be surprised if we rally up, you know, wicks and tails like to be eaten like I showed you a few minutes ago. I wouldn't be surprised if we rally up into these wicks. That is 38.2 right up in there. And then we sort of hum and haw. And the problem here is a lot of time, market will come up to this trend line And the noobs go fucking apeshit bullish here. Oh my god, it's a W, it's a breakout, it's a breakout. And it's not. The damn thing comes back down and walks its way down the trend line from the other side. We saw that's exactly what happened here, guys. So just be forewarned. All right? Come at this with open eyes. Don't be naive through this. What I would say, what actually fills me with a bit of confidence through this, I don't know whether this is the bottom, because if we change this to a line chart, watch. Well, hey, the W just disappeared. Well, what the fuck? Which leads me to believe that it's like we're going to rally to this trend line, then come back down, test the lows, and there's your W, right? Which is actually what sort of happened last time. Same sort of thing. So... but what I said a moment ago, I said what fills me actually with a little bit more confidence is if we actually look at the momentum indicators right now, you can actually see things like MACD. MACD's already starting to paint, at least trying to. You can see a move on the MACD above that point there, minus 131 right there. Right, that bar right there, 131.11. And we're right now at minus 355. So if this gets up to better than 131.11, then that will be a bullish MACD histogram divergence, which is a pretty good sign. Right? It probably, like we said earlier, right now, we don't even know whether this is actually finished being a bear. Right? We're in that 38.2 test, and this thing might just roll right back over and keep heading lower. But the fact that things like MACD histograms are turning, you can see Willie actually, Willie never officially got stupidly oversold. So that's got to be a bit of a warning unto itself. We might still have to do a little bit more cleanup here to get Willie stupid. RSI. Did RSI actually officially get oversold? We got a little bit of an oversold warning, but you can still see more M's, no W's yet. Remember we had our, I don't know whether you ever follow my funny RSI study, but you can clearly see there was another nasty little M that came in here that stopped whatever kind of bull that was going. So there. Then we've got another M all the way down here. This probably is a purple one, though, because I can also see there's a big M. So I would say the yellow one off of this one came in there to there to there. So there to there to there. Boom. So a little blue one starts the cascade lower. Stops whatever bull move there is right in here, right? You can see that it's not too much big, it's pretty damn small right there. Then this is the next M. Oh boy, that's your sell signal there. And then this one here, let's see if you guys know my crazy little RSI system. What color would I give this M down here? Right there. Make it simple. What color would I put that? I don't know if anybody got this. I tell you, these tools really keep you out of trouble. Someone should write a course on this. You're telling me, eh? Well, I like that one. Please wait before you ape. It's got to be something close. Wait, ape. Wait. That's close, eh? Anyway, so nobody knows? Cheryl, you should know this. What color should this be? Cheryl says yes. No? Anyway, this I would color purple. For the purple nurple. Should we take trades at purples? I would say no. Very dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous. And we're going to put the Bollinger Band so you don't need to see that, right? Just like that. That's a dangerous trade. to go short down there. And sure enough, look, rawr, boom. So that just bitch slapped you hard. And also, too, should we be shorting anything that is spitting out an oversold signal? Technically, a reading below 30 is oversold on RSI. So that's another sort of warning. So this isn't necessary. And interestingly enough, this has the purple fired. The purples, they're getting their hearts broken. What a surprise, because that's a terrible trade. And no real sign though of any W's yet. We have the sell side has not stopped. It's just the late purple guys they're getting their asses kicked, which is pretty normal. So anyway, gee whiz, Willie sure came close. I can't believe Willie didn't get stupidly oversold there. That surprises me. Anyway, nice double, and this isn't a double div because this low here technically is lower than this low, so that's just a W. But these lows here are lower. This low here over here is lower than this low here, but these lows up in price are way, way higher. So that is a big honking bull div. And remember when this bear div fired, we were kind of like, uh-oh. And actually, this is a really good analogy. When you see this event happen right here, and it's actually good to teach this in hindsight because you can actually see it now and you can go, oh, now I know what the fuck he means. So you tell me. When you saw this event happen right here, first and foremost, what was DaVinci J15 and MM Crypto telling you to do in the market? Oh, who cares? Buy, just buy. Oh, you'll make tons of money, right? I mean, that's what they said, quote unquote. But when we see this here, right, that's basically that day, what are you supposed to do? And if you don't know this, write it down. And it's so cool because now, like, we've basically programmed a huge part of the Twitterverse and all that I don't actually have to do it now. Josh will do it for me. It's great. Josh even put it here. There it is right there. And this is what I love about what Josh is doing, right? Is that he is turning it around now to make this more interactive with the public, which is what this Twitter should be, right? It's supposed to be social media. Me and Twitter is, I'm kind of a dick. I'm arrogant. I'm self-centered. I honestly believe I know way more than most of you. So I don't really care what any of you think. I know it's a total asshole thing to say. I'm sorry. But that's the way that I use social media. I don't even like listening to any of the people on social media because to me, 9 times out of 10, they're wrong. But what I do like about social media, and I like the way Josh is doing this, is he's trying to interact with you guys. Trying to build engagement, that's what's supposed to happen. That's the way you're supposed to use social media. And people used to come to me and used to reply to my tweets and stuff like that and go, well, why aren't you answering? Why don't you talk to me? And I would just point blank say, I don't really care what you have to say. It's not important to me. And wow, that doesn't go over very well if you want to win friends and influence people, as they say. Josh is playing the game correctly. So if anything, what I like is I'll just, because keep in mind a lot of these, this was a daily brief. I spent probably a good half hour, 45 minutes trying to explain. And this is the thing is most people in our society, they can't see this. They just can't. Can you envision, and let's be honest here, can you envision a 300,000 Dow? And why not? So that's what I think's going to happen is we're going to see a 300,000 Dow. So I spent a lot of time talking about it. And then, of course, people go, oh, no, Brian, you're wrong. And I go, I don't give a fuck whether you think I'm right or wrong. But Josh here, Josh is the politically correct side of this. He knows how to play this social media angle. So I love this. So now Josh, because I could never do this with this Twitter thing, right? What I would just simply do is I'd say, bark. Kind of like what I'm doing with these. I'm not really giving you guys too much opportunity to interact with me. I'm just barking at you, right? So my apologies, and I hope you do get some value out of this. Anyway, so I really like the way, and I've said it repeatedly, over the top. Really, really like the way Josh has taken this, the direction of this Twitter interaction. Love it. Just, oh my God, it's just the best. So thank you again, Josh. So back to our story here. This is actually looking encouraging. It looks like the market's trying to do something here. And let's just see how she acts at that 38.2. That will be our next tell as to whether we really have turned the corner here. Can we get up through here? And then more importantly, can we accept above here? Like, just give me some sort of market structure that says that, yes, we have accepted this bottom and we want to move back up. And if we're lucky, as we kind of showed you there a minute ago, if we're lucky, and this is a good analogy, this is exactly how it might play. We accept above 38.2, then put in some sort of W structure, maybe come back and kiss the big fat round number again, come back and kiss this ledge in the profile, put in some sort of W, and we got ourselves the makings of a bull run. Love it. Sounds good to me. But we can't assume that that's going to happen just yet. Looks good. I think there's enough case for the momentum. I don't like this volume bar. Man, there were a hell of a lot of sellers that came out that day. You can clearly see the bear is in control volume-wise. What we really want to see is we want to see these bulls come back, please. You buyers, you've got to step in and you've got to defend this thing here if this thing really is a bottom. So let's watch. Like I said, I think we're a bit early. Maybe this time next week. Keep in mind that usually the first week or so following that U.S. Thanksgiving long weekend holiday, usually the first week or so following that is a real malaise time in the market. The market's not overly happy. Then we're going to put in some sort of footing here, and we're actually going to get what they call the Santa Claus rally, which my hunch is we kick in maybe, let's go maybe Thursday, Friday kind of idea that they're going to start ramping the market up, thinking about sort of what does that Christmas environment look like. Might be 1 or 2 more days of head fake through here. Usually we say that Tuesday, Wednesday, London kill zone is a bit of a pivot. You know, it's kind of interesting. We had our funny little prognostication of what's going to happen here going forward. Did I get rid of it? That would suck if I did. Yeah, this here. I think this coming Wednesday's show, there's that downtrend line. I think we're going to be sort of just playing around in here kind of thing. And then the question is, can we just W, accept that 38.2, and then head into that? I still think that our next cycle peak looks like somewhere over here, right? And that's 22nd, 23rd of December. And the irony of it all is that the OK Coin guys, they love to shit on Bitcoin Christmas morning. So I kind of like the idea that we've gone through a bit of a pivot. Going to try and push our way higher here. Can we accept above 38.2? I don't quite know. I do like the idea that we try and accept that the bloodletting's over. Even using that as a technical objective, 50% of that entire range probably is pretty realistic. And then once we get to that Christmas day, then we probably have to get ready for OK Coin shenanigans into the end of the year. That's what I would expect. Also, too, ETH likes to be a bit soft into the end of the year, and then it puts in its seasonal bottom, and then usually we have just a big explosion, usually somewhere right around here. Right around the end, not exactly right on the end date, but think tax loss selling, 3 business days prior to this December 31st. And let's see where tax loss selling is going to be. So 1, 2, 3, it will be Tuesday the 28th, should be sort of the last full official day of tax loss selling. So a lot of crypto stocks and stuff like that, they'll probably be weak. So right into this window right here, I would expect a bit of a trough. And then sort of somewhere right in this window, we should actually, keep your eyes peeled for who's going to be the hot next stories. Because usually next year's hot stories, you'll actually start to see them bottom just before the end of the year. And then you get a big old pop right into the beginning of the new year. So, maybe what we see happening with this kind of scenario is D5 finally settles down and sort of troughs somewhere down here into the end of the year, getting ready for the new sort of venture cap season. So, okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Kind of ranty. Spent a lot of time just talking about Bitcoin today. Eh? Hopefully I was redundant enough that some of the ideas that I'm trying to convey onto you guys have sort of stuck. So I was pretty disappointed to see the way the market kind of flaked out here. Shitcoin's doing absolutely nothing here. Boo, boring, hiss. Flipped a couple little names. I bought some of Colin's little name when it doubled there a month or so ago. But it kind of rolled over, so I bailed on this thing. But what the hell? Made a couple bucks. I was just having fun. I'm not overly impressed with this market. This doesn't feel like a big cycle peak. So it is interesting how a lot of people are kind of thinking now, well, I guess the cycle goes on for another few more months into the new year. Be interesting to see if that tax legislation is actually passed by the end of the year. Because if they can't pass it into the end of the year, then that means it'll have to go into effect next year. So maybe the market, the reason why it didn't peak the end of this year is because the tax legislation can't officially kick in and, the fucking 80,000 new IRS agents and all that shit until the following calendar year. So maybe if we're lucky, we've, by them sort of dragging their heels with all that tax legislation, maybe we bought ourselves another 6 months or so of okay market state. We'll see how it goes. But, all right. Blah, 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 blah. Didn't really, I don't have any, oh my God, this is a screaming buy. I just don't have anything along those lines. Right now, I think, and this is why I spent most of the time talking about Bitcoin. I think you probably follow your Bitcoin as Bitcoin cycle moves. If we can get back into a bull phase here, if we can start ramping and rocking and rolling, then I think you'll start seeing the money start coming back. But for the time being, until this actually officially does turn, I'm just sort of big cool your jets when it comes to crypto. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to leave the rant at that for today. Somebody says the IRS can implement immediately. I suppose the point here is you could get audited at any given point in time, right? But I guess what I'm seeing is in previous years, if there was a huge change in legislation that was passed, and I just don't think they're going to be able to get it done by the end of the year here, then you see a mad rush of people doing stuff in the market right before the end of the year to get ready for the new tax legislation. So I just don't see that this year. So I could be mistaken. It's only the beginning of December. We still got a lot of time here, but we'll see how it goes. All right. Okay, so what's a name that Brian is interested? Totally off topic, totally different. Hopefully you can see that, hey, there's a name where it's trading at the bottom end of its range. In this particular case, turns out that they did a financing here. And this is a really cool one because they did a financing where in the financing deal terms, they said that if they run the stock above 20 cents for 10 consecutive days, that they can force the early exercise of warrants. So this is a really good example of how you can use sort of built-in internal stock market information to try and understand value. They did a flow-through financing, which is a tax-deferred type of financing, and the taxman will only give you a tax credit on something that they actually think that there's some value. So they're not just going to just, oh yeah, raise $100,000 at some arbitrary number and boom, there's a big tax credit. There's no fucking way the tax man's ever going to do that. So if you ever hear of these things called flow through financings, they are tax structured products. And they actually tell you a pretty damn good indication of value on a stock. In this particular case, they did the flow-through financing at 13 cents. The rule of thumb is that the financing is worth basically 2/3 the value because you get that tax credit. So you just multiply 13 times 0.66, and there is the value of your financing, 8.5 cents. And as I said to you before, if they run the stock above 20 cents, they can force the early exercise of the warrants. So this is a situation where if I can sneak in here, you can see the market's 12.5 to 14. I'm not going to buy that, but you can see there's a nice juicy gap sitting right there at 9.5 cents, 10 cents. If I can sneak in there, basically I'm getting it at value. Hell, if I can buy it at 9 cents, awesome. That's basically at that flow through financing. You see it is reload zones. You can see it is the original market structure bottom, and they've got the terms in the deal that basically say that they're taking the stock above 20 cents. That's basically what the deal says. So that's some easy money as far as I'm concerned. I'm working bids, and what I want is all the people that used to be shareholders that got absolutely destroyed through all of this. I want them to keep selling and book those capital losses, and I will buy into their sales. It's a pretty typical scenario. It's sort of, I've played a lot of different markets, a lot of different ways to play the stock market over the years. This is a great strategy that works this time of year. In fact, there's another piece of shit stock that I started buying back in the summer, but it's a great analogy that it wasn't going to do anything until we got through the tax loss selling window. Why? Because they just rolled the damn stock back. So here's another one that I'm coming in and I'm on the buy side in the market at this time of year. So it's a very time-specific strategy that talks basically about tax-driven selling. And this is a little pharmaceutical stock, exact same thing. You can see where they rolled the stock back, just absolutely cratered. And I'm just buying, and I'm in there on the bid trying to buy some more of this. Same sort of thing. So that's the kind of stuff I buy. So you can see whether it be that or whether it be this. So, you pull up a chart like, it could be Luna. It doesn't really matter. Almost all of crypto looks the same right now. Does that look like that? No, it looks the exact opposite. So how on earth can I come to you with a straight face and say, oh, you know what? Crypto's a good buy here. You'll make lots of money. I mean, come on. So, caveat emptor. And I hope, for God's sakes, if you did participate in this, pay yourself. The market is affording you the opportunity to make money from trading. Maybe pay yourself a little bit here, please. All right. Okay, everybody. Have yourselves a great day. Wish me luck with Liam. I really love those best wishes. Not really too much going on at TRI. We're in sort of exam window right now. We should have the new dashboard coming out relatively soon, so that should be fun to look forward to. If you are thinking about setting up a small business of trading, I think our program is second to none on the internet. We're not going to bullshit you. It's a 36-week program, so it's definitely not overnight. But our level 1 program, it's just 12 weeks. I think it gives you an excellent foundation to start things like little old lady risk management plans and Joe Sixpack and get you active. And hopefully, if you take our program, you're going to look at a chart like that and go, there's no fucking way I could buy that there. Love you dearly, Mr. Doe, but I think I'll draw reload zones and just be nice and patient and wait. All right. Thank you for the good lucks. Love those. Thank you. Good luck with Liam. Thank you, Andre. Love it. Sure. I tell you, every time I do this, it works. So knock on wood, of course. But thank you for the best wishes. PMA for the win. I hope I've said something here today to help you in your trading journey and maybe giving you some food for thought and one thing or another. But slow and steady wins the race. Don't take no wooden nickels. All the best. Hugs and kisses. Ho, ho, ho. And whatever else I can say to make sure you guys have a good day. All right, everybody. All the best. And the only thing left for Brian to say here is a big bye for now.